Well, hello. My name is Matthew Kane. Today, training, we're going to talk about the new FTC safeguard rule, what your CPA and accounting firm needs to know about the new FTC safeguard rule, and what you need to do today to get protected. As you're all getting settled in and stuff, if you can do me a favor, please put in the chat where you're from, if you can hear me, and what do you hope to get out of this training? What are you looking for? We love to answer all your questions near the end of the training. And because I can't see you, I just want to make sure that you can see me okay and you can hear me all right. I'd love to just get your feedback on that. And we look forward to, helping you understand what this new FTC safeguard rule is all about. So let me start. Let me just get going and share my screen. So here we are is what your CPA and accounting firm needs to know about the new FTC safeguard rule and what you need to do to get protected. So why are you here today? And as you can imagine, I'm assuming that you're either an accountant, CPA, or some financial advisor in California, wondering what in the world all this FTC stuff is about. And you're in the right place then. And what exactly you need to do next in order to minimize your risks and avoid fines, penalties, or lawsuits. Let me just tell you about ourselves, who we are. My name is Matthew Kane. I'm the managing director of Isudo Technology Solutions. Isudo is a local cybersecurity and IT consulting firm in Silicon Valley for the last 2 decades. As you can see on the right here, this is a picture of the San Jose State. So we're close by to San Jose State University. We specialize in helping CPAs, accountants, financial service advisor with employees be 10 to 75. They call on us when they demand dependable IT support to meet their cyber insurance requirements, and if they need cloud services such as Microsoft 365 and Azure management. As for myself, I've been in the IT industry for over 25 plus years, working mostly with small businesses. But before that, I was working for larger firms like IBM and Cisco System and a number of startups during the .com period. Now, over the years, a group of colleagues and I got together and we wanted to find a way to help small businesses to learn more about how they can understand what is all the cybersecurity and all this ransomware is, and how can they protect themselves. So we co-authored a book called Managing Your Business Risk in the Cybersecurity Minefield. And book was published on Amazon and was well received that we got #1 in our category. I also been featured and interviewed featured on local newspaper and CNBC about the stuff that we do for small businesses. So let's continue on. What is all this FTC safeguard rule anyway? The FTC is mandating the implementation of new technologies and security controls to protect the security, the integrity, and confidentiality of client or customer information. Customer information means any record containing non-public personal information about a customer of a financial institution, whether it is on paper, electronic, or any other form that is handled or maintained by you or on behalf of you or your affiliate. So this is a new security program that they're expecting and requiring that CPAs and all the financial institution that falls under the term financial institution. So what we're going to go over is how this new safeguard rule is going to impact your firm the deadline and typical timeline of implementation, what are your next steps to get your business covered and how to mitigate your cybersecurity risk? You may be wondering, why should you listen to us anyway? Are we just another random computer nerd or geeks here? Maybe, and you could be right, but the thing is, over the last 2 years, things have changed. Cyber attacks has gone up. The growth and sophistication of cyber attacks is just continuing. Cyber criminals are finding new ways, and they have ransomware as a service that they sell to other criminals, cyber criminals, to breach businesses. More importantly, they are targeting small businesses because they are an easier target for them to attack compared to larger firms who may have more security controls, who may have more resource and money to protect their business. So they're coming after smaller business. A recent example was a local CPA firm with 2 locations. One is in Texas, one in California. They were breached, and the demand for it was $300,000 per location, $600,000 total. When they got breached, the 2 locations were connected, and they used the VPN tunnel to go from one site to the other to connect and breach both locations. All the data on the servers were encrypted. They couldn't work for weeks. And imagine the loss to revenues, the client who probably left them because they needed to get their work done. And more importantly, their reputation is being tarnished now. Can you imagine that if a business gets compromised, who would want to continue working with them if they found out that, hey, you're not protecting my information? And this is what the FTC is trying to do, is have the proper safeguard and control in place to minimize and reduce these type of risks. So how is Isuto different? We're an IT consulting firm, just like many that you've seen out there, but we have a security mindset first. We focus on making sure that we mitigate your risk, protect your hard-earned income from cyber attacks and ransomware. We're constantly trying to keep ourselves up to date, learning new technology, learning what the latest industry's trends are, keeping our process in check and optimized so that we can better protect you. Just recently, my team and I went to a cybersecurity conference, and it just to keep ourselves current. And it is scary to learn what is just happening out there, and why we continue to do what we do is we believe that we have to stay current, as there are ways that hackers are finding systems or trying ways to circumvent the protections that are put in place today. Like, for example, traditional firewalls and antivirus is not enough anymore. We see ourselves as your business partner, not just like a break-fix vendor that comes and fix something and leave, because we know that security is not a one-and-done scenario. It's an ongoing process that you have to continuously monitor and keep systems and train your staff. So we've been doing this and helping small business, thousands of them, for the last 21 years. What does a FTC expect you to have in your security program? So according to section 314.1 of the safeguard rule, there are 9 elements that they identify as part of your information security program must include. For the sake of simplicity, we're going to break it down in 4 core components. One is having a qualified individual to do a risk assessment. The second is, once you identify those risks, what are you going to do to have a way to mitigate those risks, patch the holes, identify, and then have a plan to have an ongoing way to monitor and evaluate that. Then the third item is employee security awareness training. And lastly is having an incident response plan in the event something happens. So it's important that you have a what if scenario to your business, so you know who's responsible for what and who you can contact for support. So the first item is having a qualified individual who's going to do a risk assessment for your business. The idea is you have to have somebody that is qualified, who knows about your business, who understands the security implementation, or what you have and don't have in your environment, where your data is being stored, what application you're using. For example, they have to understand, hey, are you encrypting your files? Where are your data being stored? Is it on the cloud drive? Is it on a local computer? Or is it on an external USB? So where are those information and what's on it? As far as you have to understand that, and then what security control do you have? Who's authorized to access those data? Who's not authorized? And when are they authorized? And do you keep a log of them? So that is part of conducting the risk assessment. Once you conduct the risk assessment, you then have to figure out what you're going to implement in place to control the risks from the risk assessment. So you identify what those risks are, then you know what you have, information, whether you need to encrypt your client's data, or files and document, as whether you are sending it through email, or if the files are sitting on your system locally or on a cloud drive, make sure they're properly secure. Figuring out who has access to your application, whether it's your email, whether your accounting software, or your file sharing system. You need to make sure who has access there and how you can control, whether you're just using a username and password, or if you have any additional control, such as making sure that you have a one-time token or a multi-factor authentication in place. One of the other things that I want to mention is disposing of customer information. Most often, you have to have a policy in place. How are you going to manage all these data that you collected over the years? How are you going to dispose of them so you not create a risk for your business? As you can imagine, if you have clients and those clients are no longer with you, are you going to get rid of them? What do you do with all those emails that you collected over the years? Why do you want to keep all of them in your inbox? Maybe you have a retention plan to archive them or get rid of them. Then you also have to know who's logged, who have access, who's the employees, who's accessing, whether you're using contractors or internal employees or seasonal worker. You need to know, do they have access to your system? Are they storing stuff locally? Are they allowed to store on their personal computer at home? So these are the kind of things you have to evaluate. That's one that leads us to the next discussion, is employee security awareness training and monitoring. You have to understand that employees are going to be your most important asset. They are your first line of defense in the security as you are connected online. So it's important you teach them and show them how to detect any phishing emails, whether it is a suspicious website. You need to train them how to recognize that. And more importantly, you have to also have security controls in place if, for whatever reason, they do click on a link that they shouldn't have. That's why it's important to have a training program, whether you choose to do this training, create the training program in-house, or partner with somebody like Isudo, who's been doing this for a long time, and we understand and we have the system and the process in place to make it more efficient and quick for you. This is a website called Accounting Today. And in this article, they just highlighted, that accounting firms warn of client of ransomware attacks, just like the one that I mentioned earlier. This is not new. This is something that CPA's firm are, like you can say, are becoming more and more concerned about the cyber breaches and attacks that's happening to them, because cyber criminal knows CPAs, accounting firms have a lot of sensitive data. Once they breach a company like that, they have thousands of records for their clients, Social Security records, name, address, date of birth, and all these information. So that's why CPA's firm are going to be one of the prime target that's going to be sought after based on what's been happening. And this is the main reason why the FTC is mandating this new regulations. Our last component of the security program is what is known as a incident response plan. So incident response plan, think of it as an emergency escape plan. What are you going to do in the event that there is an incident called a security incident, an episode, according to the FTC, an episode resulting in unauthorized access to or misuse of information. So this means that somebody has been able to access your system and gain control to your data and breach them. So they want you to have a scenario where you have a system in place where what's going to happen, when this plan is going to get activated, who's responsible for that in your company, who you're going to call, what is the way you're going to communicate. For example, if your email system has been compromised, how are you going to communicate with each other? And what's going to happen to the computer system? Because chances are those computer systems are not going to be able to use for months, because if they're going to do forensic on it, you need to have you have to have spare computer or purchase new computer. How are you going to get those systems in place? So these are things that you have to maintain. And once you know that, you have to document all that. And afterwards, what are you going to do after the breach? How are you going to, what you learn from that, and how you're going to improve your security system in place. So as you can imagine, you're wondering, there seems to be a lot to do here. How long is it going to take to get all this stuff done? You're right. It is a lot in the security control. So doing the risk assessment, having, and then implementing what from the discovery, what you found in there, putting security control in place, patching out any holes you have, training your employees, and then putting the incident response plan in place. Now, typically it can take anywhere from 4 to 6 months. Because of the long process, the FTC extended the deadline to June 9th. Originally, this program was supposed to go into effect December 9th of last year. But as a result of supply chain and shortage of qualified security professional, they extended 6 months this year. But as you can imagine, 6 months goes by fast. With tax season and other activities that you're doing, you may not know, it's going to just pass by pretty quickly. So that's why we're bringing this message that you have to take action right away. It's time consuming. And again, you have to find a qualified professional and somebody like Isudo who can help you put all this together. Of course, if you want to do this in-house, you can, but here's the thing. 90% of this stuff is usually above what the typical in-house IT department is able to do, because it requires specialized training, security tools, and software and process in order to achieve all this in the timely manner they need to get done. It's not something that if you want to wait, you can, but you're going to still be at risk. So your options is that you can try to do a lot of it in-house. You can take time to learn the process, understand the terminology, and put together something that you can do internally. Or partner with somebody like Isudo who's live and breathe doing this. We want to be a partner to help you understand how to be safe and how to mitigate your risk. So what does it look like if you do decide you want to partner with us? We believe that partnership is where we learn to trust each other, work together, and as a business, it's more than just a business. For us, we believe that when you have a problem, we are there to help you to understand those problems and solve them in a timely manner. We're constantly making sure that we're paying attention to what's happening on your network, providing advice and ability to mitigate those risks when they're discovered or known or when they're reported. And lastly, we're constantly looking out to how to improve our process and protocols to better serve our clients, because as we learn year over year, what used to work yesterday may not work today, because the technology and the level of sophistication for cyber criminal have changed, and they don't just they rely on ways that people social engineering and phishing emails to get through your network. So what's next? The next thing is you can book a strategy session with one of our team members, and we will come up with a game plan of what to do and get you ready. So all you have to do is go to this URL here, ask.isuru.com/intro, or take your phone and scan this QR code. Either way, it'll take you to a website, and we can help you get started with scheduling a time with one of our consultants. Here's the thing. Don't wait. As you can see, it can take anywhere from 4 to 6 months. And we have multiple clients, so our schedule is probably going to be booked back to back. So we want to make sure we can help you, but at the same time, we're going to have to help whoever comes first, first come, first serve. And as a bonus, if you sign up for the first 5 business that signs up and book a meeting with us, we will give you a free baseline employee assessment, so you understand where you stand today with your staff. Thank you, and put your question. My team and I are ready to answer any questions in the chat, and I want to thank you again for attending our training today.